Real talk, real people, relevant conversations. The I Am Kiana Skills podcast is dedicated to real conversations about issues, emotions, and experiences that affects the lives of everyday people.
I know that's right.
Welcome to the I Am Kiana Skills podcast. Welcome to the I Am Kiana Skills podcast, proudly sponsored by the Closet Spence Boutique. Shop online at theclosetspence.com and enjoy 10% off with code podcast. That's PODCAST. What's in your closet? Hey everyone, welcome back to the I Am Kiana Skills podcast. I'm so glad you're here, baby. Today we're diving into something we all know too well, being perfectly imperfect. Let's be real, life can be messy, and trying to keep up with this idea of perfection is exhausting, people. Woo, y'all, it's exhausting. So let's chat about it, how our quirks, our mistakes, and these little things we think make us flawed are actually what makes us totally awesome. And I'm super excited because I have my girl Keita back this week.
Hey, listener land, what's up?
What's up, what's up? What's up with the Bankhead bounce? Hey. Ooh, let me stop. Woo, how has it been, Keita?
It's been great for the most part, but you know, sometimes life is lifing, but we making it through.
Yes, we're going to share some stories, have a few laughs, and remind listener land why it's okay to embrace your imperfections, baby.
That's right.
So grab your tea, your cocktail, or whatever you desire. Get comfy, and let's celebrate all the ways we're perfectly imperfect.
Let's fix our lives, y'all. We gotta fix it.
We may not be Ayana, but we Keita and Kiana. We gonna help you get your life together, baby.
We doing it together.
Yes. So, Keita. I am so excited you're here because I know you got some good insight, baby girl.
Well, I've been doing some work.
Yeah, so to kick things off, I want to ask you something. What does being perfectly imperfect mean to you?
Perfectly imperfect to me means to fully embrace and love yourself.
Yes.
Because none of us are perfect. So if you're perfectly imperfect, that means you are genuinely you. You're loving your authentic self, who you are, where you are, and what has got you to where you are right now. So that's, to me, perfectly imperfect. It's like loving the space you're in. Like I said, you're not perfect. You may not be where you want to be, but you darn sure are not where you used to be. So you've made some progress and you're working on where you're trying to go and embracing that journey that you're going through while you're doing it.
Ooh, girl, I love that. But for me, being perfectly imperfect is all about embracing the messy parts of life. We all got those messy parts of life. We don't want nobody to know. We be at home, hiding behind them covers. But it's about recognizing that my flaws and my mistakes are just as important as my strengths, y'all. I think it's about letting go of what I like to call those pressures to be perfect, instead of focusing on why I'm not this, why I'm not that. Just focusing on your true authentic self.
That's right. Authenticity.
Yes. It's those little quirks and those moments of my vulnerability that connects it, or that should allow you also to connect with others and yourself.
Right.
Because I do remember a time when I messed up. You know, we've all had those moments where we've messed up. But this particular time, it was at work. And you know how when you're at work, you just want to be known as the perfect employee. You know, you want to get those good productivity scores, those good QAs. But I had messed up, y'all. And I took accountability for it, number one. But you know what ended up happening? It sparked a great conversation with my team about being human.
Right. That's, most of us do our best or learn the most. The lessons come from mistakes.
Yes.
And having opportunities where we demonstrate how not imperfect we are. How imperfect we are.
Yes, because you know what? It reminded me that we all have our moments.
Yes.
Where things makes us relatable. And sometimes you just F up, people. You just F up. It's gonna happen.
And
You're
it
not
happens
always
more than once.
Yes. If you keep living as the old folks say, and the youngest say, life is gonna happen, and the youngest say what? Life be lifing. But you live
And
a little
is.
longer. You're gonna have what I was gonna say is what the old folks say. You're gonna have a test to go with their testimony. Woo, child. So, Keita, are you a perfectionist? And if why not?
Okay, so I think I kind of used to be a perfectionist in my, younger days because I wanted everything to be right, everything to be in order. And I also think it's just, how people have those, what are they, type A and type B personalities or whatever. So I think that was just my personality. But as I've gotten older and learned more, I've learned to embrace like when I do mess up or when things are not quite perfect, because like I said, those are the lessons you learn. Those are the opportunities you have to change up. And that's when you learn more about yourself.
Oh, yes.
And also it helps you to, like you said earlier, relate to others and develop a deeper relationship, not only with yourself, but with those around you. And it helps you with your interactions with others and understanding them and learning about just the dynamics of letting go.
Yes.
And not just holding everything in or holding everything to this one. And if it doesn't go that way, then you just falling apart and life is,
it's just over.
Yeah, it's over. And that's stress. So once you get to a certain age, and some younger people kind of already kind of get that with this newer generation, because some of them don't care about nothing.
Right.
So so it don't matter. Whereas we in our generation and some before us, it's like we felt like we had to be perfect because that's why you gotta, that's how you make it, or especially with opportunities like in the workplace and things like that. We felt like we had to be not only the best, but 10 times the best, just because of, racism and other situations that come about. So now that stress in some situations is not quite on us anymore, so we can kind of have a little leeway.
You just said something, work. Let's talk about work. And the reason why I want to talk about work is when it comes to being a perfectionist, I think our jobs tend to make us be a perfectionist. Because think about it, they want you to have 100. Depending on what you do, most jobs, especially in corporate America, what they want you to have 100 QA, or 95 point, whatever the score is. But dang,
what is QA? I'm in a different field.
Oh, sorry. QA is quality
assurance.
Quality, yeah. Okay. Your quality, your QA, your quality assurance scores. Yes. I almost forgot myself. And your productivity. Like they create these standards that are high. And so as an individual and as an employee, you find yourself want to exceed those goals because those goals are often tied to what? Your raise, right, people?
Yeah, depending on your job.
Or any type of bonuses. So that's why I wanted to address that when you said that. Sometimes we feel that way because certain metrics are set up.
Oh, I totally agree. Because for those of you who don't know, I'm in the education field. So I'm an instructional coach. So I work with teachers. And so I run into, in all the years I've been teaching, I run into teachers sometimes that really want everything to be perfect and do everything the perfect way. And I was like, in education, there's no such thing. And that's why I try to, because they have that stress on themselves and they're literally like stressing out and they're stroking out, trying to go after this perfection. I was like, no one is perfect. You cannot put that stress on yourself, even though, like I said, some of these jobs expect us to do X, Y, Z, but then some of the people over us don't even have the same skill set.
Right.
For them to be putting those stresses on us, and they couldn't even reproduce or do some of those things, especially like in like the corporate field or business fields, not so much in education, but still a lot of work situations put us in situations where we feel like we got to be perfect and make us have that stress on us, whereas some other aspects not as much, or sometimes we do it to ourselves.
You got to put there.
To. Yeah.
So do you think I'm a perfectionist?
Y'all.
I'm going to answer, but I'm just curious to see what you think about me.
Oh, yeah. I think you're a perfectionist. Well, you know what? It depends on what it is. Like when it comes to like certain business stuff or stuff doing with like the stuff you're pursuing now with your dreams with like the podcast and the hosting. Yes, I think you are, because you want everything to kind of go right. Because when in the entertainment field or the service field, you want your client to feel like they're getting the best. So I can see that in, some aspects of that. So that in that area you are. And some other aspects, but just because I know you, and I'm not finna just be specific because we are on the air. This is not a personal conversation. But in some other aspects, no, not as much. But I'm kind of the same way too. Like if it's something has to do with like something that has to do with branding and my name on it, yes, I want it to be right. But I also, because I've been doing my work, y'all, I'm getting fixing my life on. I've learned that you don't need to be perfect, because that's where the lesson comes, where the learning comes, that is where the growth comes from. So I've learned to kind of take that pressure off myself, and I feel so much better. Like my blood pressure ain't sky high crazy no more, and certain things don't upset me as much anymore. But that doesn't mean like I'm slacking. No, I'm not slacking. I'm still getting stuff done. It's just I'm learning the boundaries and how to balance it in a healthy way.
So the question of the hour is Kiana a perfectionist? Honestly, what Keita said, it depends on the area of my life. And in some aspects, like my work or projects I'm passionate about, I am a perfectionist. I have those tendencies, like it's gotta be right. I'm staying up way longer than I need to be. I need to be asleep. But I want the best, like she said, from my clients. So just know when you book the I Am Kiana Scales brand, you're going to get the best experience possible, because I don't play in those areas. As well as the boutique, you're going to get the best experience possible. But you got to know that boutique, now y'all got to help me get you the best, so I can be the perfectionist. Because some of y'all, we going to have a customer service. It's not all.
Yeah, that needs to be a whole nother episode.
Because baby, I can tell y'all some stuff, and I be
customer
like,
service, honey.
It's not me. Sometimes it's the consumer, but where I can't be a perfectionist because y'all just won't let me be great. So anyway, we're going to save that and shout that for another day. But it just, like I said, depends on the aspect of my life and where I am that I have those tendencies. I sometimes want everything to just be right and perfect. And guess what, y'all? Sometimes the outcome is it doesn't go that way, but let me tell you, I can pivot and you would never even know that it didn't go the way, or I can get to an event and some things change, but I'm so, I want to pat myself on the shoulder. I know how to pivot in situations so I can keep the shows and stuff going.
Because that's exactly what I was getting ready to say. Y'all, okay, let me tell y'all, me and Kiana been friends for years, so we got a relationship like that, and I'm like her mini life coach. So when she gets in these perfectionists and wanting everything right moments, and I see it's not, I'm always trying to work with her about being flexible and knowing that sometimes when things happen, it's happening for a reason. Yes. And so so she can learn to embrace her pivot moments more, because a lot of great things come out of those pivots. So that's why it's so important to not just focus so much on perfection, because there's, what is that old saying? There's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yes.
So it's more than one way to do things. Sometimes we have certain things just stuck in our head of this is how it needs to go, and God is trying to get us to go a whole nother way. So situations come about to kind of change our thinking and embrace more than one way to do some things.
Baby, he's sure been having me pivoting over these last couple of weeks, and
girl,
you know what?
We pivoting right now.
That's what I'm just gonna say, baby. I just threw this episode together in what, probably less than about 30 minutes. But that's what I'm saying to y'all. I'm quick with it, even though I don't want to be, because I be like, no, it's not gonna be right. I have to think about it. I have to da da da. But guess what? Y'all gonna enjoy this episode because we coming with it. In 30 minutes, you're gonna be like, wow, she did that.
But also look at the learning and the skills that are happening, that you're developing within you, that you did not utilize or have before. And that's going to help you and prepare you for your future. Because if you stick with this and do this long term, especially on a big scale,
Yes.
stuff is gonna happen, and you're gonna have to pivot in the moment, and you can't just fall apart when something don't happen the way you want it right then and there. So we're learning and growing over here, right along with you.
But like in other areas in my life, as far as being a perfectionist, like my personal life or friendships, I have learned, Keita, to just let go of the need for perfection. You gonna take me
have to, or you'll be out somewhere in the streets running around butt naked crazy.
I'm about being real and embracing the chaos that comes along with those relationships. It's a balance, you know. Striving for excellence is great, but you know I got to put that but in there. But I found being too hard on myself is in every area. It's just ludicrous. It stresses you out. What you were saying, you'll be stressed out in these streets, people. So to be real with y'all, I focus on my progress over perfection.
Hello, I'm gonna say that progress again, over perfection.
Because, baby, that's a gem for somebody.
Yes,
Go get you. Oh, I hope y'all got y'all notepads. If not, rewind and take these notes. It's progress over perfection.
I like that.
Especially in my relationships and self-care. So you got to have that. So, Keita, do you grant yourself the same grace that you give others? Or are you just as hard on yourself as you are others? Ooh.
Oh, that is a loaded question,
a loaded
honey.
one, baby.
So, in my past, I used to be way harder on myself than others. But like I said, I've been working and learning and healing some of that stuff from the past. So now I have learned how to grant myself just as much grace as I grant others. Now, as far as accountability, I still have high accountability for whoever it may be I'm working with, and I hold myself to that same accountability. Now, one thing I noticed though, just because I have high accountability and standards, some other people do not, and so sometimes that can be frustrating working with somebody that kind of don't hold themselves accountable, or or just has an excuse for everything. So that's kind of frustrating. So that's another part of my progress where I'm working to kind of work with people where they are and love them where they are and just learn how to deal with them and adjust accordingly.
I don't always grant myself the same grace
you don't.
I give
I tell
to
you
others.
That all the time.
I just don't. I tend to be harder on myself, expecting that perfection.
But you also kind of hard on some others too.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna name specifics, but and that's why I be trying to tell you. I was like, stuff happens, but anyway, keep going. You ain't got to give me the side eye.
You see, I get her the side eye, whatever. But no, I am my own toughest critic. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gonna be transparent.
Most of us are though.
Toughest critic. I've been working on it. I'm learning that it's okay to extend that same kindness back to myself and understanding to myself.
It's very important, and you need to, because that affects all the other aspects of your life, whether you realize it or not.
Yes.
It's
really
a
journey. I'm gonna tell y'all, it's a journey, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, you're making growth. We all are.
Yes. Each day, like I tell myself, I'm hard on myself, but then I'll say, okay, Kiana, it is what it is. What you gonna do about it? How you gonna fix it?
So that's the thing, is having that key of you're in that for a moment, but then realize, okay, how can I move forward with this and not stay stuck? So many people just stay stuck and want to harp on it, and then it stunts your growth, and then you can't move, and then that's when a lot of issues and dependencies come in at, versus learning how to accept and find steps to move forward and progress.
So how do you bounce back when you notice yourself having a moment? What's your strategy?
So strategies for me, I have multiple. One, first is just being honest with yourself and asking yourself those reflective questions. And really just, like I said, a lot of people don't want to spend time really with themselves. Like they rather watch TV or, listen, or always be around somebody else, or always be out with somebody. But it's important to have that time with yourself to really talk to yourself and think and reflect about what you're doing, where you are, what happened, what you may have learned from it, what you did right, what you maybe need to fix or change for next time. And some people don't want to do that. So I really try to spend that time and first be reflective. Then sometimes that means like praying about it, taking some deep breaths. And then also journaling has helped a lot, because just sometimes writing out what you feel and how you feel about something as you're writing, sometimes ideas will come to you. And also meditation. When you're thinking about something and you may have an idea and it didn't go quite as planned and you want to see how to like redo it or how to bounce back from a situation, whether it's something that was in a relationship or a business deal or whatever. Sometimes just having those quiet moments, other ideas can come to you, or you can replay the conversation and think about, oh, how could I re-say this? Or what can I say next time? Or how can I bring this situation back up with someone to adjust and make it, where it sits better with you and you feel better about what's going on. And then thinking to yourself, how can I move forward from this?
Ooh. So you want to know what I do? Oh, I know they like, what does Kiana do, baby? When I notice myself having a moment, I have a few go-to strategies to bounce back. First, I step back and I most likely start freaking out and just start screaming. Yeah, I start screaming, baby. I'm freaking out. I'm screaming. I'm lashing out, probably hurling all kind of, what are they called? Curse words. Look, see, you can tell I really ain't no good cusser anymore because I couldn't even think what the words are. Profanities. Yes, I'm probably hurling all of those, y'all. I'm going to keep it a book. Yep. Sometimes I use those words. They come out. And then y'all know what I do. I go, woosah. Then I breathe. I just take a few deep breaths and I clear my mind. I come on back down.
And that's the point. You got to take that time to clear your mind.
I clear my mind. I also sometimes, like you journal, sometimes I jot down my thoughts or I text, like I don't use the notepads in my phone, y'all. I'm so slow. Let me tell y'all what I do. I text myself. And that's mine. And that's uniquely makes me me. And it works for me. So I know Kitty back, where's the notepad in your phone? No, I text myself.
Right.
Yes, I do.
I use the notepad in my phone.
Yeah, so. I'm going to text myself. After I take them deep breaths, I'm texting, writing things out, and just like, that just helps me. So basically, I'm venting to myself. Like, that's just a way that I cope.
Yep. Another thing I do is I like re-talk and talk through the conversations like while I'm driving in my car. I turn my music on, find a song that kind of fits the situation, get the feelings out.
Ooh, if I find a song, I'm about ready to, me, I be getting out of here.
Talk it through and talk it out.
Yes. I know y'all be like, that girl so ratchet on that podcast. Yeah, I'm working on this. And like, y'all,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Everybody got a little ratchet in them. Everybody got a little ratchet in them. Okay, let me stay on task. See, I'm getting off task. But y'all know, honestly, I also sometimes pick up a phone. I hate to burden my friends with my problem, but sometimes I'll pick up the phone, call my sister, call Kitty, call a friend just to talk it out.
That's another one.
To talk myself off that ledge. Because I know if I don't, I'm about to do something crazy. And
it's good to have somebody you can trust and talk to that once you talk to them, it stops with them and it ain't going to be all in the streets.
Yes, because they're going to give me
with
a
everybody.
reality.
So having somebody you can trust is important.
Yes, and they're going to give me that reality check that I need.
And they're going to be honest with you.
And that happened to me last week. I had a situation where my sister had to basically talk me off the ledge, baby. She was like, Kiana, you cannot do that. You have to, think about your actions and what you're about to do. I had my sister so worried about her little baby sister. Shout out Vonda. Baby, she got up early and was calling me 2 or 3 times a day. You okay? Where you at? Like, what you doing? Like, yeah, sometimes it goes there, y'all. And this is why I like this podcast, because I can be vulnerable with y'all to let y'all know my life is not perfect. Sometimes it goes down. And it's not that I think I'm Billy Badass or nothing, but y'all just don't know. Y'all be looking at my life and be like, what possibly y'all just don't know the devil has been working. I can't even begin to tell y'all the half of this foolery that's been going on. And I'm glad to know that I see the growth in myself and that people around me are praying for me and like, baby girl, don't do that. Like, where you at? What you doing? Yeah, my sister was calling on me, checking on me. Even Keita was like, where you at? Let's go get something. Like,
Yeah.
you need to talk where you at. Because, baby, I was finna do some stuff that was finna probably land me,
girl,
in a
on
place.
TMZ for real.
Yeah, I was probably
For real.
gonna be on TMZ for real. Cause baby, if it wasn't TMZ, it was gonna be Scoop. It was gonna
Right,
be
I was
News
just getting ready to
Channel
say that.
5, 2, 4, Fox 17. And when it all came down to it, it was just some foolishness that I just had to be like. It was just like the devil just kept nitpicking. And what we talked about kind of last week, that drama. I'm not even in drama. I don't know why I'm in this season where it feels like the devil is coming. I don't even want to give the devil that much credit.
I was just getting ready to say that.
No, but it's just real. Stuff just been happening. I'll be like, I'm over here minding my business. I'm not doing nothing but trying to get this podcast together, working on this boutique. I'm in my lane. What? I'll be like, God, what is it? What's going on? What am I missing? What am I doing? I put the blame on me and like, what is Kiana doing? What's going on? Like, girl, why is this coming for me? But you know what? After I did all that, this week and then like last week, I got to turn my life around. I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going to deal with it. I prayed about it because ultimately that was the answer. Just pray about it. What it's supposed to be is going to be.
And the lesson is going to come about that needs to come about.
Yes, because you can't
whether it's a lesson for you or a lesson for somebody around you and it still affects you.
Yeah. Right, because you can't let other people's actions dictate where you going in life. And that's what was about to happen. And it was almost like they were coming off as they were purely innocent of their intentions, but that's not how it seemed to me.
It goes back to we're all imperfect.
Yes. Perfectly imperfect. And it's okay. We all have flaws and we all mess up.
Mm-hmm,
but
that's right.
To learn to use
we can
our
all
words.
Bounce back.
Yeah, bounce
that's
back.
My song.
You gotta bounce back. Come on, Juvie. Bounce back.
Song,
bounce back.
Okay. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, girl, you know we'll stay getting off track, won't we? Lord help us. So, speaking of critiquing ourselves, so what does your self-talk look like or sound like?
Now that has changed so much. Mm-hmm. You know, and we just talked about how much we'll be on ourselves and expecting this price. So my self-talk in my younger years was horrible because it was like, dang, you can't get nothing right. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. Why you forget this? Why you do that? So that's how it used to be. And then, like I said, learning and growth and kind of healing. Mm-hmm. I've learned to improve my self-talk, to know that, one, this is a journey, this is a process. So I take those deep breaths and I try to figure out again, like, what do I need to learn from this? Grant myself that grace. Okay, Keita, it's going to be okay. Let's see what we can do about it. And then I always try to think of, for every time there's like a problem or something to complain about, I try to think of a compliment or something that can go along with it to reverse that. Yes. I'm all trying to do this positive thinking, positive mindset. So those are the practices I'm trying. So instead of being on myself about it, you tried this, you did well with this. Now, how can we improve it or do better next time? Instead of like, dang, why you do that? I'm like, okay, we didn't quite make the mark, but what can we do next time? How can I do better? So making sure that my self-talk is grant myself that grace, is still keeping it positive, because I tell you, we talked about this last week. When you get caught up in that drama and get on that negative train, it kind of escalates and snowballs and turns into a dark thunderstorm. And so to keep from going that way, you have to make sure your self-talk is still pouring into you to help you in that bouncing back and bringing it back.
So for me, when I critique myself, it usually starts with a mix of reflection and tough love. You know, like I said, I'm just hard on myself. My self-talk can be pretty critical at first. Like, why didn't you do, like what you were saying, why didn't you do better? Why you can't get anything right? That's usually what I do to myself. But I'm working on flipping that script. And even if that cycle continues, I'm okay with it, because I know down the road, it's going to be a reminder to myself of what I did well. Like, I'm going to eventually come back around to what I'm doing well and focus. Exactly. My focus will be back on what I can learn from that situation.
And that's what's going to move you forward, focusing on what you did well. And then thinking about and being reflective about what you can do better next time, or what you can do to kind of move you forward.
Yeah, because you know what? It's all about finding a balance between honesty and compassion with yourself. Because you first got to be honest with yourself.
Hello.
Because if you're not honest with yourself, you just out here living a lie. So what's the point and what's the purpose? If you can't have a self-talk with yourself, that you're imperfect. Like nobody is perfect. We've heard that over and over again. But guess what? Some people really out here think they're perfect. Nobody is.
Or some people just don't want to hold themselves accountable. We're not just because we're saying embrace your imperfections. That does not mean don't hold yourself accountable.
Right.
You still need to hold yourself accountable, especially if you're really trying to go out and do some things and really be productive and prosperous.
Thank you. So we're gonna do a little rating. We're going to change it up a little bit. So
we're finna get real now, y'all.
Y'all. So if you had to rate yourself on a scale, let's say from 1 to 10, of course, 1 being the lowest, 10 the highest, on your growth in these areas, let's go with physically, mentally, let's throw spiritually in there, and then I'm going to throw in, let me think of another, work-life balance. How about that?
All right, so physical. Lord, y'all. Okay, being transparent and honest. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say I'm probably like at a 6, 6.5 maybe. And that's just because that's one area I really need to work on it. Now I know that, and I'm honest with myself because I've been putting all this other stuff first, all these other aspects, which would be more the mental, the spiritual, the work-life balance. And so physical is kind of falling last. But because I know that is one of my goals and what I'm currently working on. So there's some things I'm putting in place now so that I can, by the end of the year, have that number kind of moved up where I've gotten the other numbers. So you said mentally. Mentally, I would say probably like, I'd say a 9. You know me. I don't like putting myself at all 10s for anything because it's always room and area to grow, in my opinion. So that's why I would say I'm 9 because I am I'm putting in the work. I've been reading a lot, doing a lot of reflection and journaling, and just dealing with a lot of the things that kind of held me back and had me kind of stagnant or dealing with a lot of issues. I've kind of been reflective about those triggers and things that used to trigger me, and so they don't really trigger me anymore because I've done that work to kind of deal with the root cause of it. So yeah, I'm good right now mentally as of today. Spiritually, yeah, I would still say like a 9 too. Because I'm making sure that each day I wake up and express gratitude and pray throughout the day. I'm praying, especially when I'm having to deal with things at work. And then at the end of the day, I try to close every day with gratitude and prayer, just about, the things that went well, even if it didn't go well, what I got out from it, that I could do better tomorrow, and that tomorrow is a new day. Like Glorilla said, it's always tomorrow, honey. At the end of the day, the day go in. Yep. So because of that, then I know, that there's hope. So I'm good there with spiritually. Work-life balance. Now that has been a job because at the beginning of my career, there was no work-life balance. I would be working at work, bring that work home, still couldn't watch the kids because I'm still doing work stuff. So I've learned more. Now I do have more of a work-life balance. So I'd say I'm about like a 9 too, because I make myself know when I walk out of that building, what happened in that building stayed in that building. So once I leave and I'm in my car, then I can focus on, my family, my marriage, and, my relationship with others and things like that. So I'm doing better with that work-life balance. And now that we're doing this other stuff too, the podcast and helping with the hosting and all of that. Now, I still am working on that balance, but we're doing pretty good because now we're not, because we don't do this every day now. So we've kind of got a schedule on. So that kind of helps balance that out. And then I balance out that with my kids' stuff and all of that. So it's working out and that's flowing too. So like I said, I just got to work on that physical. Y'all help me. I need an accountability partner with that now, honey.
Woo, but anyway. You know what? So how I would rate myself physically, I would say I'm around a 6. I could be more active and productive with my physical health, but hey, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm working on eating better as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we've both been doing better with that.
I've been, you know. And mentally, I give myself a solid 7.
Okay.
I give myself, well, you say okay like it.
I'm good. Glad that you're being honest.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead.
Wait a minute, child.
I ain't got no horse in the race.
Girl, I'm like, you said that like.
No, I was just saying, okay, I hear you.
Mm-hmm. So no, I do give myself a 7 in that area for my mental. Because I'm focusing on trying to give myself more self-care and being mindful that there's always just room for improvement when it comes to my self-care. Because, I feel like I'm a workaholic here lately. Like everything is.
You are. Yeah, and I tell you about that all the time.
Yeah, lately it's been getting this podcast awareness. Y'all don't know, your girl be working hard on this podcast to give y'all what y'all need, because my goal is to help people to be their authentic selves and to know that, like this episode, nobody is perfect, that we all need a voice of reason. We don't need all of this bad girls. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I probably watch half of that ratchet stuff too. But I say all this to say I wanted to provide a space for us to be able just to sit back and sometimes reflect on ourselves and our goals and our mental. And this is that space, this podcast. Now, what was the other one? Spiritually, I would say about a 5. Yes, I do believe in God, Jesus. I pray. I do all that. But I would have to say a 5. And I know people are like, girl, a 5. And I'm let me.
You're honest.
Because I'm being
your walk
very
is
honest.
your walk, honey.
And I'm going to say, because lately I've been feeling like I could really deepen more of my connection. I've been feeling like, and I don't know if any other Christian felt like, it's like sometimes, let me see how I can put this. Sometimes I feel like I haven't been giving God my best. That sometimes I've just kind of been playing it like, oh, he knows my heart. You know, sometimes we say that just casually, oh, he knows my heart. That's where I'm coming from when I say about that 5, because it was a time when I was just on fire.
Lots of people go through that, honey.
I was on fire for Jesus in church, sun up, sun down. Like I said, since I started all these new roles, it just seems like I just kind of been all over the place, not doing the things spiritually that I used to do. But I have just been trying to really explore what that means for me, how to get that connection back. And I do know that all Christians go through that.
Personal thing. It doesn't matter if you go to church every Sunday night, because there's some people that go to church every Sunday and still at a 5 because they don't do the work to do that, to work on their personal relationship with God. They're just all about
it's a personal relationship. It's not about just going to church.
Let me the actual relationship part.
Yeah, let me clarify that. It's not just about going to church from sun up, sundown every time they have something.
Right.
Because you have to have a relationship with God. Yes, I still have that relationship. Let me say that again. It's a relationship with the Lord that you must have. It ain't just about what church you go to, what denomination you are. It is the relationship, people. And sometimes I feel like in my journey, my spiritual journey, in my relationship, that sometimes I feel like I haven't, like I said, giving God my best, my Sunday's best.
And that happens in all relationships. Yes. So yeah, everybody goes through those stages. Mm-hmm.
So that's where I am with that. It is what it is. That's all I can say about that. And as far as...
Go ahead. I was just making sure you was finna do the next one.
Yeah, I was going to get to it, baby girl. Now, as far as my work-life balance, I'm at a 4. I was going to give myself a 2, but I said, oh, no, Kiana.
Okay, I was just going to make sure you was going to be honest with that one, honey.
Yeah, baby, I'm going to be honest. I already told the people I'm always working, so I can't do nothing but give them the truth. So I rated myself a 4. I'm definitely striving to be better in setting boundaries for myself, because that's going to ultimately help me. Like I said, y'all, I'm a workaholic. I do a ton of jobs. I'm always up, figuring things out. Yeah. Like when I leave here, I noticed that my phone, before we was getting ready to record, popped up. I got orders. So guess what Kiana's going to do? Kiana's going to go fill those orders, start working towards getting those orders filled. So I'll probably be up tonight filling orders. But hey, probably 1 or 2 of those orders. But the rest of them, because I'm not going to go by the boutique tonight, at least that's what I say, but I'll probably end up over there because I'm a workaholic, y'all. I'm trying to pull y'all's orders and get stuff done, but I do need to set more reasonable boundaries when it comes to stuff. I just I just can't seem to get that work-life balance under control.
It takes time and it takes work. It ain't something that's just easy. It's kind of trial and error figuring out what works for you and what don't, because each person is different. That's the beauty of imperfection, because everybody's different. It's not just one mold or box. So
I want, and just to be honest with you, I do want to feel stronger physically, and I want to be more grounded mentally and spiritually, because guess what? That's going to ultimately create a healthier balance that allows me to enjoy my life more fully.
Yes.
So we have to talk about that.
And that should be the goal, to be able to enjoy life. Our life wasn't meant for us just to work till we retire and then pass away.
Or be
we
stagnant.
need to enjoy life throughout this journey.
Or it didn't require us to be stagnant either.
Right.
Because sometimes we'll get to a space and we'll say, oh, I'm good right here. Because trust me, in corporate America, I have been so dang on stagnant. I am pretty much smarter than what I give myself credit for, but I'm at a point in a space where I'm like, I've been doing this for over 20 years. It's nothing else really in corporate America that I really want to do. I'm just doing it because guess what? It's routine to me. Mm-hmm. I know that's sad. It used to be a time that I was just climbing the corporate ladder. I saw myself doing this, but I'm not even going to lie, for the last maybe, 10 years or so, I just been stagnant. Just like, it is. I don't know if it's because I'm working on all these outside ventures that really has my attention. So in the corporate space, I'm just not with it. And I know that sounds crazy, but yeah, you're just not meant to be mediocre. So
that also means your passion is shifting, because your passion is no longer with what you were doing in corporate America like it was years ago. Your passion now is more towards the other things that you're working on the side now.
Yes, most definitely. So how can we create a culture that celebrates imperfection instead of, let's say, striving to, for attainable standards? Let me say that again. Because I'm trying to figure out, I'm going somewhere with this question. I just want to make sure that you understand what I'm asking. Okay. So how can we create a culture that celebrates imperfection instead of striving for unattainable standards? Does that make sense?
I think I got you. Mm-hmm. So it's important for us to celebrate it. And you said, what's the first part?
How can we create a culture that's...
okay. Creating that culture to celebrate imperfections. Mm-hmm. That goes back to the book I mentioned last week, The Self-Love Revolution. First of all, having that relationship with yourself and learning how to love yourself, that should be very first. When you're loving yourself, then you can understand and be able to build that relationship and build yourself up. So when things come, it doesn't just you don't fall apart.
Right.
You're learning how to be more resilient. You're learning how to, embrace your imperfection, because that's what makes you you. That's what makes you unique. And it's a part of that being authentic with yourself. And we always talk about being your authentic you, embracing your authenticity. And because that's important, because there's no one like you but you. There's no one that can do the things that you do like you. So we need to learn how to love ourselves and celebrate ourselves, because that's what kind of helps make the world that we live in. If everybody was the same and did the same things, what would this world look like and be like? So we need to embrace this, because so many things come out of our imperfections. And in fact, it shouldn't necessarily be a fault. Mm-hmm. It should be looked at more of, that's what uniquely makes you. I mean, even like, give me an example of a fault. Like, what someone would consider a fault.
We're going to talk about, we could say, what somebody would consider a fault. Go ahead.
Like somebody who may lie or something like that. But still, if that, happens to be you, still you can look at it as a fact that, yes, I may have trouble being totally honest about things, but it also sparks some creativity because you're always coming up with different stories. So you're learning how to flip that thing. If another fault of yours may be that you're so hard on yourself, then you need to learn how to see it in another way. I'm a detail oriented person,
Right.
and think about how you can use those skills in another way towards a more positive light than to be necessarily harping on yourself or the things you don't do. So it's kind of learning how to kind of flip your faults and turn them into assets or things that can kind of help you grow, or areas to strengthen that you need to work on kind of in your life. So that's what we kind of have to learn to kind of celebrate our, what some would consider faults, and kind of flip it to make it more of something positive.
Something positive that works is more favorable, as I should
Yes.
say, more favorable. So what I think, to create a culture that celebrates imperfection, I think we can start by sharing more authentic stories. Like you said,
Yes.
if you lie, you lie. Stop trying to make you
Be you. It's so
Yes.
many people trying to wear masks and fake and front like they somebody else. If you just be you, the people who are for you will love you for you. It's just when you putting on and doing all the extra, that's when you getting on people's nerves and they looking at you sideways and don't want to be bothered because they know you just putting on.
right, because we have to share those real struggles, those mistakes,
That's
and
what helps
all
others.
the flaws. Because guess what? Encouraging open conversations, that's what's going to change the culture. It's going to help those flaws be normalized. Ooh, but y'all don't hear me. Oh, can I say that again?
Yep.
It's going to make those flaws be normalized, people. See, we don't be wanting to normalize things. We kinda
normalize the stuff we don't need to normalize.
Thank
But stuff
you.
like this is helping us all grow and prosper and learn how to love each other in spite of. That's what we need to normalize.
And kind of what you were saying, we also need to shift the focus from perfection to growth, highlighting progress. Again, what I said earlier, progress over perfection, baby,
Yes.
in ourselves and in others. We just have to find that, because that's what's going to help the culture. Because a lot of times we're always putting one another down, and instead of us, oh, they flawed, they this. That's an imperfection, people, and it's okay. Everybody's not perfect, but let's talk about, let's help get that person to where they need to be. Because a lot of times, let's just be honest, sometimes we can have some imperfections that we think is normal. Like I'm gonna take it like when you talk about a fault. Let's take a bad attitude. Like I might think that's real faulty of me to have a bad attitude around here all the time. But guess what? I might think that's normal. Like I may not see anything wrong with my attitude.
Right.
But if we have conversations more about how to conduct yourself as a lady or as a gentleman, what your attitude, what your posture should look like, then guess what? We're normalizing bringing your faults into perspective, and we have to not only bring them into perspective, but we have to give people a way to understand what's needed
And give them a chance to grow and learn
Right.
and change if they want to. We can't change somebody else, but we can bring it up so they're knowledgeable and they know of it, because sometimes they don't realize it.
Right.
So once they realize it, then they make an adjust if they want to.
Yes, and we would hope they would want to.
Right,
because
depending on what it is.
we just all want to be basically like community service. We want to all do our community service, is what I'm going to call it, to one another.
We need to be a community, period, and be there for
Yes.
each other and help support each other instead of always tearing each other down or judging each other.
Because, that's going to make everybody feel in the community feel loved and valued.
And that's what's going to help us out, because we can come together and really get some stuff done
Yes.
to help the community and help everybody as a whole.
Because a lot of time we got all this criticism in the community, but there's no solutions and no real answers. So we have to figure out a way to try to combat those flaws. Like, what can we do about them? So that's just something to think about, listener land. Because another thing, it's going to weigh on your mental health. So, Keita, how do you think society's views on perfection impacts our mental health?
Oh my goodness. We see it so much on TV and hear it on the radio now of, people passing off their judgments or their views on others, thinking they should be at a certain standard or doing certain things. And it really affects. We see people falling apart all the day all the time because they think, because they're hearing the comments on the social media or stuff in DMs or seeing other people's videos and things like that, talking about what somebody else should be doing or could be doing or should have did if that was me, this, that, and the other. So yes, it affects mental health because then it causes people to think about, oh, well, should I be doing what they think? Because you're starting to worry about what other people think. And what they think you should be doing, and it shouldn't be like that.
No, because society's obsession with perfection takes a toll on your mental health.
Yes.
Sometimes put those phones down, people, because guess what? It creates unrealistic standards.
And some of that same judgment you put on others, if you get in a situation that get flipped on you, then you want all this grace and mercy and want people, but you didn't do that to somebody else. That's why I said karma is real. So you have to be mindful of what you're saying because how it can affect somebody else. Words do hurt. We talked about that before.
Yeah, we talked about that before. Because guess what? As I was saying, those unrealistic standards, they lead to constant comparison. Now you out here comparing yourself to others. You're stressed out and you're feeling inadequate.
Right. And it reminds me of my favorite Moneybagg Yo song. It should only be me versus me. How I feel and what I want to do based on me, not what you said or what you doing.
Yeah, because many people end up feeling like they're never enough. People, you are enough. Trust and believe that, which can contribute to anxiety and depression. We have to be mindful when we focus on perfection because guess what? Our mental, it's going to lead you down that road. So you have to just know to accept yourself how you are. Value that you are unique on your journey.
That's why self-care and self-love is so important.
Yes. So we're going to close out on this thing. But before we go, I want to ask you, what advice would you give someone struggling to embrace their flaws?
There's quite a few things you could do. One, like I said, some of the strategies we already mentioned earlier. There's taking time to get to know you. There's all kind of little online assessments you can do to kind of learn more about yourself. Spending time with you without the distraction of your phone or somebody else, just to really get to know you, what you like, what you do well, what you want to do. Spending that time journaling and really writing out your thoughts or mapping out what you want to do, where you're trying to go, your plan for the next year, 2, 5 years or whatever. Also, there's so many resources out here. They have like online life coaches or therapy and all kind of coaches that do stuff now. But then there's also books that give you all kind of advice of things you could do. 2 or 3 books that I've read already that I highly suggest are, 1, The Self-Love Revolution, which I talked about earlier by Dr. Aya. 2, there's a book called How We Heal, which is like a journal-like book. And that's by Alexandria L, I believe. That's a good book that goes through dealing with like your past trauma and your thoughts about yourself to kind of improve your thoughts about yourself so you can be successful moving forward without dealing with the pain and hurt from your past. And then also I got a book, y'all. It's called I Can and I Will. And it's a reflective journal. So it's also a way for you to really think about kind of where you are and where you're trying to go. You really have to take out that time to really do the work for you and in you. There's always spiritual communities that you can go to. And like I said, talking to people that you trust, professionals preferably, but if not, someone that you can trust that can give you good sound advice and feedback.
Keyword is good. Yes. Not just jumping on the bandwagon with you. Good sound
and
advice.
Honest. That's going to really kind of help you with what you're trying to do and, moving forward.
If someone's struggling to embrace their flaws, my personal advice would be to start practicing self-compassion. I'm going to always say that.
That's the part that's in that book. It's a whole section on that.
And grace. Acknowledge that everyone has imperfections. That's totally normal. Once you start telling yourself that, guess what? You've won half the battle.
That's right.
Because we all have something that we can improve on. You're not alone, is what I would tell them. I would tell them to reframe their thinking.
Yes.
Focus on what you can learn from your flaws instead of seeing them as failures all the time. We talked about that a little earlier. I would say that and keep saying that. How can you flip that thing around? If that's bothering you, if that's one of your imperfections and you can't stand it, guess what?
Work on it.
Work on it. And if you don't know how to work on it, like I said, go see a therapist, a self-coach, or get with one of your friends or someone that is smarter than you. And what I mean by that is that somebody that can help you get you out of that rut or that mindset.
Yep. Get your mentor, somebody that's doing what you want to do, or you see that kind of has it together to kind of help you find out what they're doing, to see if those kind of strategies will help you.
And it's just surround yourself. I would just tell them, just surround yourself with supportive people who uplift you and remind you that being real is so much more important than being perfect. And I would also add to that, get you some prayer warriors, somebody that can pray over you and that can help you to pray for yourself, to teach you some things too. Because guess what? Prayer also changes things. Let's not forget that.
It changes people and it changes things.
Yes. Well, thank you, Keita, for helping me to help the people with embracing their flaws and helping them to understand that it's okay to be perfectly imperfect, baby.
Yes, let's put in the work, people, so we can do it together.
Yes, let's put in the work. Real talk. All right, as we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with this thought. And that thought is embracing our imperfections. It's not just about acceptance, y'all. It's about freedom. When we let go of the need to be perfect, we open up ourselves to genuine connections and real growth. Remember, it's our flaws that make us unique and relatable. So let's celebrate the perfectly imperfectly journey we're all on. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you take some time to reflect on what makes you beautifully you. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share the I Am Kiana Scales podcast. Hey ladies, ready to elevate your style game? From timeless classics to the hottest trends, we've got something for everyone. Visit theclosetexperience.com and save 10% today with code PODCAST. That's PODCAST. Theclosetexperience.com. What's in your closet? Theclosetexperience.com. What's in your closet? Be sure to use code PODCAST, PODCAST, and save that 10%.